Masech Shvuos Daf Chof Hey Amar Aleph is starting from the Mishnah around 7-8 lines from the top. A new Mishnah. Zog the Mishnah Echad Devarim Shalatzmai. Say if somebody swears things that are pertaining to himself, like he speaks about himself, that he's going to eat. He makes a sure that he oichel. Echad Devarim Shal Achenim, or he makes a sure but they gave to others that he says, I'm going to give that person money. Then, and he's over on those shvuos, then he's chayv hakam oil v'yedin. The echad al dvarim sheish b'hem mamish. Oh, because he was over, shvuos bitui. He's chayv hakam oil v'yedin. Echad dvarim sheish b'hem mamish. If he swore on things that are tangible things, chafetzim, and even if he made a shvur on things that are not tangible, like he says, I'm going to sleep, he makes a shvur, I'm going to go to sleep, I'm not going to go to sleep, and he was over on it, or that he's going to throw a pebble in the ocean. So these are shvuos that he's going to be chayv if he was over on it, even though it's not a tangible thing, it's not something that he's going to have a no, even though it's a shvur b'negei to others. I'm talking about isham and lo isham. He's going to sleep, makes a shvur that he's going to sleep, or he's not going to sleep. That's not tangible. There's nothing there. And the shvur about throwing a chayfetz into the yam is to show that there's no benefit. There's no lahara, there's no lahait, it's a garnish. It's neutral, nothing, zero. Zak the Mishnah Ketzad. How's there? Now we're going to go through each case. The Mishnah, right there. Ketzad. What's the case? He says he makes a shvur that he's going to give stuck to this person, or makes sure he's not going to give that person any money.
But he didn't say it as a neder, he said it
as a shvur. And so too, if he swore on the past, Shanasati, I gave this guy in the past. Oh, Shalenasati, I didn't give that person, and then we find out that he was lying. So he has to swear shvur's bitul. He has to bring a kav ma'il b'yedin if he was able on his shvur. Zok the Mishnah Ketzad. What are the things that don't have tangible? What are cases of non-tangible things? What type of a shvur is that? Sheishan, I'm going to sleep. Or v'shaloyishan, or he swears I'm not going to go to sleep. Or sheyishan, that I slept already. Or v'shaloyishan, I didn't sleep. When he was able on all these shvuos, any of these shvuos, even though the dvarim shein b'mamish are not tangible, we're going to talk about it soon. So dvarim shein mamish. This is something that don't have not tangible. Luftik zachen, and nevertheless the shvur is chal if he was over, and he has to bring a kav ma'il v'yedin. Now, what's you spoke about dvarim shein mamish, and now we're going to talk about even where there's no anah, there's no nezik, no anah, zero. What's that case? Shezik tzroil ayam. He makes a shvur that he's going to throw a pebble into the ocean, or shaloi yezik, he's not going to throw. Shezaraktik that had thrown. Yeah, but there's nothing. There's no benefit. There's no harm. No benefit. No harm. He said, "Oh, Shazarakti." He says in the past, I had thrown something into the yam. Shaloi zarakti. I didn't throw something. So these are things that there's no benefit or harm, and nevertheless, we say, if he's able on this shvur, he has to be a kav ma'il b'yedin. He was able on this word. Right. Rabbi Yishmael Leima, we're going to get into in details soon. Rabbi Yishmael Leima ain't a chayiv el ala asid lavi. Rabbi Yishmael says the only time you're going to be a chayiv kav ma'il b'yedin is only if the shvur is on the future. Well, what's the pasuk? The pasuk shenema, like it says in the pasuk, lihara, oile hated, lihara, that it says nefesh ki sishav labat b'svasayim, lihara oile hated. It's talking about the future. Only on the future. If you made a shvur on the past, I threw something, that I gave something, that's not a shvur. So because the way that the Torah describes a shvur's bitui is for the future. Okay, so you want to later back. It says in Cain, according to your words, that you're following the letter of the law. Mamish the words. He says, so I should say, hey, shvur is not going to be chal. Only if it's something that's going to be bad for you, or something that's going to be beneficial for you.
Even if it's only for the future.
Yeah, but for the future. But according, you're saying you're using the words to prove that it's for the future. Learn the literal words that the shvur should only be chal if it's lahara, if it's going to be bad for you, or it's going to be beneficial. But if he's dvarim shein b'hem But if he swears on something that's not bad for you or beneficial for you, benayim, from where do I know that he's going to be over on such a shvua? We know that he is. L'kuliyama, Amalei. Rabbi Shmuel said back to Rabbi Akiva, many kosu that we have a special ribui, because in the pasuk it says lichol, the extra word lichol asher yivata b'svasayim, or lichol asher yivata odom b'shvua, lichol asher yivata odom b'shvua. So the extra word is lichol. From lichol, everything comes to tell you odom b'shvua. So he says, Amalei. Rabbi Akiva said back, if you're using lichol to tell you that it's going even not on the laharoy later, even on other things. So say lichol is not. If it's already not. If it's telling you we're taking out of text of what it says in the pasuk laharoy later, learn that it doesn't also mean after the future. He says then the riba hakasad gan lakach. So it should be even for the past. Yeah, for the havayich. It says befeidish lahara. And we're taking it out of text. It doesn't have to be later. So it doesn't have to be the future either. Let us be barber from it as well. That's what Rabbi Akiva told back to Rabbi Shmuel. Rabbi Akiva said back to Rabbi Shmuel. Rabbi Shmuel said only for the future. So Rabbi Akiva says, what about if you're later, it should be for the bad or for the good? No, it's state l'chayil asher yivata odom b'shvua. L'chayil. If l'chayil is taken out of text, let it take it fully out of text. Could be the past too. Okay, you have a chumrah of the darim of a shvuas, and there's a chayma of shvuas ben darim. Really, shvua is much stronger than a darim. But I will advise in the Sifan at Chaplatz, there'll be a mile of the darim of a shvua and a shvua over the darim.
Explain the simplistic way. What's the difference between one and the other?
One is gavra, one is chetza. The darim is on the chayfa, the shvua is on the gavra. We said that yesterday, but we'll go through it now. Chayma ben darim. The chumrah of the darim of a shvua is shan darim chalm al dva mitzvah b'darashus. If somebody made a neder, he says, Koinam sukkah shani yeshiv. He says, this sukkah, it's awesome for me. This sukkah is like a carbon, and it's awesome to me. Or he says, Koinam lulav shani naita. This chefza of lulav is not good for me. I can't use it. Is he being mevatel the mitzvah of sukkahs? Sukkah and lulav? No. He made these chafotzim also to him. But in this from Gabra, it's not on him. So they will be chal. Such a shul will be chal. Mashenka b'shvuis. What's if he swore, I'm not going to sit in the sukkah, the whole sukkahs. I'm not going to be mekayim mitzvah. A shvua. No, we're saying it's shvua. He's going on the gavra. I'm not sitting sukkahs. We're talking about the concept of sukkahs.
But here you said I'm not.
By neder, he said that sukkah should have a din like a carbon mode. That lulav should have a din like a carbon mode. That it should be also to me. But if he says a shvua b'degate himself, that was a koinam, that was a neder. A neder, right. A neder is on the chetza. But if he made a shvua about himself, I'm not going to be mekayim the mitzvah of sukkah or the mitzvah of lulav. He's being mevatel a mitzvah from the Torah. So that is not, the shvua won't be chal. It's only chal, but if he did it as a neder. Now, chum b'shvuis. What's the chum of shvuis over neder? Shashvuis chalas al dav shein by mamish, kedav sheish by mamish. A shvua you can make. I'm going to sleep. I'm not going to sleep. It's a dav shein by mamish. It's not a tangible thing. You can't chop on. It's a luft gereit like you said. It's just the air, so it's not. And nevertheless, the shvua is chal. Mashen can be nedarim. No, nedarim has to be on a dav sheish by mamish. I'm a moshe kezak. It has to go on a chayfetz. So when he says Koyani Yoshim, it's garnished. But here he brings down, Rashi says, if he says, it's not shy.
What's that? I'm making a neder that I'm not going to sleep tonight.
Okay, neder is nothing because it's not, neder is supposed to go on the chatzah. Shvul you could say about, that's going on the gavra. You could find a way, but if he says, Rashi says, if he says, Koynam Einai B'Shina, I'm not going to close my eyes to sleep. So now it's on the chefza. He's choosing. He's saying the eye is this eye. He's not going to close. So that's shena chefza. That's what Rashi says. Okay. Then it will be chal. But that's a double hamashis. But you say I'm not going to sleep now. Who cares? I mean, it's not. The nade is not chal. It has to be an adav sheish mamish. Okay, we learned in the Mishnah Ketzad. What is the case that he says a shvur that's negated to another person? He says, Shvua she'etem lepleni over shalayet. I'm going to give tzedakah to that person. I won't give. In fact, you what am I yatzing? What's the Piddush Eter? What's the case talking about?
Well, I'm going to give him some money.
Oh, very good. This guy Baruch Hashem doesn't come back. Ilema, if we say it's talking about he swore tzedakah la'ani, right? He gives tzedakah to the ani. Says what kind of a shua? Mushba be'evim hasinayu. He's mushba. It's already a mitzvah friya.
What if he says I'm going to give my friend, an apple? So
You're not making a shua and you don't give him. You're not over for the shua. You're over because the Torah says you're supposed to give honey money. You have to give him this one.
It wasn't money. Say something else.
Whatever it is, the same thing. It's stuck. Never like it says in the Torah, but the gate honey, nothing titanoi. You have to give her honey if he's in need. So how could you say that he's over on the shua if he doesn't give the honey? He's not over on the shua. He's over on the Torah. El you have to say matan la'asher. It's talking about he's giving a matana to Asher. He says he swears. That's in the Torah. That's not giving him matana to Asher. But you swear you're giving a matana and you're over, then you're over on shua. If we also learn in the Mishnah, he makes a shua, I'm going to sleep, I'm not going to sleep. Here comes your question. It says, mother, the shua that he's not going to sleep, is that a shua to be chayv a carbon if he's over? Well, how can I say? If somebody makes a shua, he's not going to sleep for 3 days. That's a meglach. A person cannot not sleep for 3 days. So if he swore such a shua, it's not. It's a shvur shav. It's nothing. You can't be mekayim it.
Malchus instead of a
Malchus, you get because it's a shvur shav. But Yoshan Alt and he fell asleep right away. Of course, he's not going to be over on a shvur's bita. You're carbon malabiyarid. So and the money, right? And the money has nama shleisha hach leyama shleisha. Out there, when we said it's the shvur is not chal, because it's impossible for a person to sleep. It's not to sleep for 3 days. He said 3 days. Here it's talking about he said he's not going to sleep. When he's not going to sleep, it means the amount that a person is capable of not sleeping. Other Pirushim said that he specifies he's not going to sleep for a day or 2.
So then that's okay.
That's okay. The shul will be chal. But for 3 days it's impossible. Okay. So he says he makes a shua that he's going to throw a pebble. He swears he's going to throw a pebble into the ocean, or he swears he's not going to throw a pebble. Somebody makes a shua that person threw a pebble into the ocean about somebody else. And he didn't throw it, so he was over. So it's like so he didn't make 1 minute. He didn't make a shua on himself. He made it on achedim. Says the Gemara.
What did he say?
I saw.
That he didn't throw
he swears that person had thrown a pebble into the yam, and we know he didn't. He was over. So Rav Amar Chayiv, he's Chayiv for a couple of years. Ushmul Amar Pata, and Shmuel says in the Karm. Why? Very good. Rav Amar Chayiv, Rav says he's Chayiv because Isay Bela V'Hein. You remember this? A shvua has to be able to go loy and the opposite of loy, of eichel. Loy eichel and eichel. Here it's not shaykh. Why? Because to say that he on the past, you could say it's possible to swear side b'lashon lav that person didn't throw a pebble in the yam, and it's also b'lashon hein that he had thrown into the yam. But okay, that's good. That's in the past. Right. So that's part of Lahara Lahita, and he's Chayva Carbon. So that's why Rav says he's Chayva Carbon. Shmuel says he's Pata because Leisi B'Laba. He says Chutz that you need Labahain. It has to be, you remember in the Mishnah we said it has to be Laba. It has to be for the future. This is not shaykh to say a person he's going to throw a stone in the future. He's going to throw a stone in the what is he's your behemoth and you're going to tell him what to do? He'll do it. If he wants to throw it, he will throw. If not, no. He can't make a sure that this guy is going to throw. You have no control. It's like I told him, good morning. He says, don't tell me what to do. If I want to have a good morning, I'll have a good morning. You have no control. Okay. Another Malamed that I said good morning to. Let us say that Rabbi Yishmael and Rabbi Akiva, that Rav and Shmuel are arguing in the machlekes of Rabbi Yishmael and Rabbi Akiva. Where do we see a machlokes, a similar machlokes? The time that we looked in our Mishnah, Rabbi Shmuel Leimein Chayiv Al Asid Lavi. Rabbi Shmuel says he's only chayiv if he makes a shvur for the asid. Shadam lahara lehetiv. So that's only for the future. That's why Rabbi Shmuel said, "I'm like Rabbi Akiva." In Cain, if you're following the letter of the law, then the din should be only if it's for there's ra and teva, there's a benefit or a bad for him. And so so where do we know that the shvur will be chal even if it's not beneficial for him or even if it's good for him? Even if it's not good for him or it's not bad for him. So Rabbi Akiva said, and so Rabbi Yishmael answered, Mediba Akosu. From the extra word lechel asher yivatad mishvah the lechel. Amalei Rabbi Akiva said back to Rabbi Yishmael. Even lechel. If you're using lechel to take it out of context, when they gave bad or good, so riba hakas lekach. So the Torah does maybe it also for leava. Not here, no. Rav the Omag Rabbi Akiva. So we're going to say Rav. He holds Rabbi Akiva that he's mechayiv even for shvur sha'avah. And therefore, when he swears on the Ava Shazorek Ploin Yitzrayel Liyam, or Shalei Zorak, he's going to be Chayiv. Shmuel, the Amak Rabbi Shmuel, and Shmuel that says like Rabbi Shmuel, he's only going to be Chayiv for Shmuel Haba. And it's not Shaykh to say a Shmuel Haba, he's going to throw in the Yam a pebble. Who you? You're not, you have no power over him. Yeah. So you better know. From them, you have no proof that Rav and Shmuel are arguing in the same machlokes as Rabbi Yishmael and Rabbi Akiva. I'll leave it at Rabbi Yishmael Kaliyam and Pligi. We can learn according to Rabbi Yishmael. Everybody holds that a carbon is only on loss and love. The shvur has to be loss and love. They're not arguing. No, Rabbi Yishmael says lahaba. Okay, so he says. So according to Rabbi Yishmael, a carbon shvur is only in Nishma loss and love. And they're not arguing. Everybody agrees that he's potter on if he makes a shvur l'shava, and because it's a kavachem, a hash the milsa the isa bilahaba, ma'adoch something that's in the lahaba, loy mechayiv alo Rabbi Yishmael l'shava, ma'adoch on something that's shaykh lahaba, like on himself, and he makes a shvur on himself. Then I will throw, I won't throw. That's shaykh. He's talking about himself, right? But we say, but l'shava, if he says I threw and I didn't throw, according to Rabbi Yishmael, it's not chal. Milsa the leisa bilaba, something that you can't even do what the Torah says befedish where the shvur should be chal. In the future, l'mashal, like he says that person is going to throw something in the future or not throw something where it's not going to be chal. For sure, it won't be chal. Milsa leisa bilaba mibaya. For sure, it's not going to be chal l'shava. Keep pligi. Where are they arguing? I'll leave it Rabbi Akiva. Only according to Rabbi Akiva. Rav that says that he's chayav on a carbon when he swears that person threw a tzroir liyam. He holds like Rabbi Akiva that Rabbi Akiva is mechayiv even on a carbon for the past. Shmuel Amar Ad Kan Loik Mekom Mechayiv Rabbi Akiva Hasan L'Shava Ala Milsa De Isa Bil Haba. Mechayiv Rabbi Akiva l'shava. Shmuel says, when did Rabbi Akiva say that a shvur in the past will help? If the shvur can be used for lahaba. Also. But if the shvur won't work lahaba, then it cannot work lahaba. Which is a shvur that cannot work lahaba when you're talking about somebody else. That person in the future is going to throw something that you can't tell him he's going to throw. So if it doesn't work lahaba, so now he wants to make a different shvur. In the past, that person threw something. We're not going to let it work. It could only work if it works lahaba. That's what Shmuel holds, and Rav says no. That's what Shmuel says. Says you let us say that Rav and Shmuel are arguing on different machlekes. Rabbi Yehuda and Meseder and Rabbanan come if the gate. They're arguing in the machlekes of Rabbi Yehuda and Meseder and Rabbanan.
Why do you have to say Rav and Shmuel are arguing according to
Shitasa? We want to know where the shita comes from. So from these Amarayim, Tanoim.
Rav and Shmuel argue it's always they're following Tanoim.
Yeah, over here we want to say it's Tanoim Tanoim and Achleks of Tanoim. It's not that we learned in the Mishnah. In the following Mishnah, Nishba Levatal Samitzvah. Somebody makes a shvur, I'm not going to put on tefillin. or I'm not going to eat matzah the first night of Pesach. Veloy bitel, and he was over, and he ate the matzah. He put on tefillin, potter. He's potter from Makam and Shvuah. So too, if he swore l'kayim es mitzvah, he swears that he's going to fulfill the mitzvah, like eat matzah b'Pesach. Veloy kim, and he didn't eat the matzah. Potter, he's still going to be potter. Shahayu bedin, you can learn it out from that Kavachim, and the Gemara will say later on, Sheyehei chayiv kidur Rabbi Yehuda ben Meseda, that he'll be chayiv like Rabbi Yehuda ben Meseda from a Kavachim, because Madach, when he swears to fulfill a mitzvah, and he doesn't fulfill it, he's chayiv a Kav Shvuah. So how much more so when he swears not to fulfill a mitzvah, and he fulfills it for sure, he's gonna. I'm sorry, Madach, where he swears to fulfill a mitzvah, and he wasn't. So he says that he learns out from Kavachim that he's going to be Chai B'Kam Shvuah, like the Gemara will explain later on. But nevertheless, what do we see? The Tanakama holds that he's potter, right? The Tanakama says if he was Nishba Levatel es mitzvah, he swore to be Mevatel mitzvah, and then he fulfilled the mitzvah. So we said he's potter. That's what we said. The Amar Rabbi Yehuda ben Meseda, and Rabbi Yehuda ben Meseda said, "Umay imar Rishus." Madach, when he swears to do something which is not a mitzvah, where the Torah doesn't say he has to fulfill it, right? He's going to be chayv karm if he didn't fulfill his shvuah. Well, mitzvah, when he makes a shvuah on a mitzvah, which mushba alam b'hasinai, he swears on a mitzvah which he's mechuyev to do. That's one of the mitzvahs that the Eibushter commanded, and they didn't say chayv Allah. For sure, he should be a chayv.
Who was the Tanakama here in this Mishnah?
Huh?
Who was the Tanakama said that?
Rabbi Yehuda ben Meseda.
No, he said that he's kind of Kavachim, right?
Rabbi Yehuda did not nishba levatel something like Bito Potter. That's what we said to Rabbi Yehuda. 1 minute, I'm sorry, that was the Tanakama. No, it's not Rabbi Yehuda ben Meseda. That's the Tanakama is the Rabbanan. Okay, so the Yimada. So the Mishnah explains what's the reason of the Chachamim that say he's not going to be Chayv HaKarban. L'chayda, Rabbi Yehuda when Meseda brought a Kavachim, he should be. What's the reason of Rabbanan they say he shouldn't be Chayv HaKarban? Amalei, the Chacham said back to Rabbi Yehuda when Meseda, lie. You can't learn this out with a Kavachim. Why not? Imamat b'shuas harishus. By shuas harishus, why did you say he's Chayv? Shekain also ba lav jehein. Because there the lav and the hain is shaykh. It's shaykh to swear that you won't do, and it's shaykh to swear that you will do. That's why the shus. Toima b'shus mitzvah shekain loy asa ba lav kehain. But by a mitzvah, there's only one way. I'm going to fulfill the mitzvah. You can't make a shua. I'm not going to fulfill the mitzvah. That the lav doesn't work. I'm not. Doesn't work. So therefore, it's not a shus bitri. A shus bitri has to work. Say lav and say hain. Let us say Rav holds like Rabbi Yehuda ben Meseda that he's chayv even on the shvuah belav ubehei, meaning that just like you don't need the lav.
You don't need a lav in hand.
In hand, you could use if it works one way and it works and you're even on it, you could be chayiv. So he says since he doesn't make a condition that has to go both ways. So therefore, he holds the same thing when somebody swears that person threw in the past, so it only works le'avan, it doesn't work lahaba. He'll say yoiva also. You don't need both ways. Shmuel holds like the Chachamim, just like by a shvur you need both ways lava hain.
By a mitzvah, you need lav.
No, just like by shvur bita you say you need lava hain. By shvur bita you need the lahara. I'm sorry, lahaba. Ulava, it has to work not only lava, it has to work lahaba. It has to work both ways because you're learning it out from the same words. Lahara lahita. Lahara means lav. Lahita means hey. Lahara means la'asin. Lahara lahita means la'asin. And we learn out the drasha that you have to have also la'ava. So it's from the same words. So therefore, Rav will hold like Rabbi Yehuda ben Meseda when it says lahara lahita, and he says it doesn't have to be both lahara lahita. It could be the lav alone, it could be the hain alone. That's enough. So too, if you're learning out from Lahara Laheta, say the same thing with the Gay Lahaba. It could be Lahaba alone, it could be Lahaba alone. Zok Yamada, no. Really, I'll leave it up Yehuda ben Seder Kulam Loi Pligi. I'll leave it up Yehuda ben Seder. Everybody agrees that you don't need Lav and Hain. They don't argue. Everybody's made the Yechayiv, even if he speaks about La'ovash, that's not plainly that person had thrown a Tzoy Layam, even though it doesn't work La'asid. And he makes a Kavachema, Hash the Lav Hain Leibai, Madach, when it comes to Lav and the Hain, that you don't need it should work both ways. Lahabo L'Shava, boy. So Lahabo L'Shava, for sure, you don't need that it should work both ways. That the shvur should be chal. You don't need that it should have to go. That the shvur should be able to be used. Lahara, lahaba, and then therefore it can be also used lahaba. No, you don't need it. One on its own is enough. That's really everybody holds like Rabbi Yehuda ben Seder. Ki pligi. That's Rabbi Shmuel say. If you're talking about Rabbi Yehuda ben Seder, nobody argues in the shita of Rabbi Yehuda ben Seder. Where are they arguing? I'll leave the Rabbana. They're arguing according to the Rabbana. Shmuel, that part is a shvur that in the past Rabbanan holds like the Rabbanan that the shvur has to have lav and hain, and the same thing. So once you need both, it should work. The shvur, in order to be chal, you need that it should work both ways, lav and hain. He holds also that in order that it should work le'ava has to work lahaba. But Rav argues what the Rabbanan say. Lo mechayv Rabbanan the lav v'hain. The lahara ki lo mechayv Rabbanan. When did the Rabbanan say that you're not going to be over on the shvur? Only the lav and hain. Only if you can have both ways, lav and hain. Why? Because the chsiv lahara oy laheit v'hedja. It says lahara, which is lav, and it says laheit v'hain. So the Torah says you need both. According to the way, again, how Rav is learning the Abanan, he says lahava. That doesn't say befedish. The meribuya de kroyasu. They learn out from a ribuy from the pasuk. Mechayil. Lechayil comes to teach you even l'shava mechayil. So he says, so that's on something that you learn out from ribuy. You can't say you need both ways. The lava hain state the fetish in the Torah. You need lav and hain. Lahara is the lav, or lahita is the hain. But the Indian from the Shavous state this. The Indian of the past that it should help. That the Torah doesn't say. We learn out from the ribuy. And the lahara lahita is Taka speaks about the asib, doesn't talk about the ava. We learn out from a ribuy. So since we learn out the ava from the ribuy, so then we don't say that since we learn out from the ribuy the ava, so you need the ava and the hava to work both ways. You don't. Only what says befedish you need that should be work both ways, but not which is lav and hay. That says befedish. But b'negeya lahaba la'asid lahaba or la'avar, that you don't need both. Masr Rav Amnuna, because it doesn't say befedish in the Torah. Masr Rav Amnuna. Rav Amnuna is takash from the Mishnah. Lo yachalti ayoy. He asks on Shmuel again. He said, because Shmuel says only a shvur l'shava, a shvur lahaba works, not l'shava. So he says, Lo yachalti ayoy. I didn't eat today. But lo yinachti tefillin ayoy. He says, I didn't put on tefillin today. And then he says, Mashbiach ni, and I'm making you swear that this is how it was. Right now we're talking about a man. You're talking about the tefillin. Mashbiach ni, he makes him swear, and he says, I'm making you swear, and he answers, Amay. This person that's there, it's saying the testimony, he's making another person swear that that's how it was. So the halacha is somebody who answers Amen after a shvur, it's as if he made the shvur himself. So chayiv, he's chayiv to bring a carbon if the words weren't true. Since his friend said, Mashbi acha, I'm making you swear, he answered Amen. By him answering Amen, it's as if he was the one that made the shvur. So then, and if he was over, then he's chayiv. So Gemara Bishleim Aloy Achalti Isei V'Loy Oichel. He says, I understand Lo Yachalti that you're going to be chayiv a carbon because you have it also in the haba. Lo Oichel, I will not eat. Here he said lo yachalti, but you have it in the asri lo yochal. I will not eat. Ela lo hinachti. But when he said I didn't put on tefillin today, why should we be chayav a carbon? He says in the past, but it cannot work in the asri. Mi isa below yaniyah. Could he make a shua? I'm not going to put on tefillin today. How could he make such a shua? It's mushba b'aimet. The Torah says he has to. He can't be mevatel a mitzvah. And we said he's going to be chayiv if he was over by if he says lo hinachti tefillin. If I didn't put on tefillin today, and he did, he's going to be chayiv. Why? If it doesn't work la'asid, Shmuel says it has to work la'asid in order that he should be chayiv for the ava. And here it doesn't work la'asid. Because la'asid to say I'm not going to put on tefillin is being about the mitzvah. He asked the question and he answered it. Let's do in Ketani. He says these two cases are two different categories. Lo yachalti, when he said I'm not going to eat, and he was over, that's lekarbon shvua, for when he swore falsely. Lo hinachti tefillin, when he says I didn't put on tefillin, that's lemalkis, because that's a he has to put on tefillin, and even though the shvua doesn't work lahaba, b'negeya to a carbon, you're right, he's not going to be chayiv, but b'negeya to malkis, he's chayiv. If he was amazing. Masav Rava.
So he gets malchus if he didn't put on tefillin?
If he was amazing. Masav Rava. Rava asked a question. Ezu he shvur shav. What's a case of shvur shav? So Gemara, nishba l'shanis is how you do la'adam. He swore, yeah, this is the mucker. He made a shvur to change what's known to everybody. Like he said about a man, that's a woman. Or he said about a stone, this is gold.
Today it's different.
Okay, I hear you, yeah. Lama, Amud Shaleven. He said on the Amud Shaleven, on this pillar of stone, the Shehu Shalzav, he said it's gold. So Allah says, and it's known already to three people that it's not, it's a stone, it's not gold. So then it's called a Shvur Shav. Says, you want to time of the Nikah? The whole reason why it was a Shvur Shav, because three people knew about it. But what's if it wasn't known to everybody that this is stone? Maybe it was then he's over Mishum Shvus Bitri. Like how could he be chayva? Come by the way, you can't say in the future, this stone should become gold. It's not shayach. So since it's not shayach for the future, according to Shmuel, so then in the past, when he says that this in the past that pillar of stone was gold, we shouldn't trust him because Shmuel says it has to work for the future too. And here, from the inference of the Mishnah, we said it's a shvur shav only because three people know about it. But if it wouldn't be that way, you said the shvur would be a shvur bita, and you would be chayv akam ma'iluyeda. And you want to hummaisula, hummafarikla. Rabbi he himself asked the question and he answered. He says nikar, if it was recognized by three people, over mishum shvur shav. He's over because of shvur shav, which is a shvur shekeh. It's chayv malchus. Loy nikar. But if it wasn't recognized by three people, then it's not a shvur shav. Then it's a shvur shek. Even mishum shvur shek. He's not over mishum shvur bitui, but he's over because of the lav of the loisi shava b'shmila sheker. What?
People don't know, so who knew it's a sheker?
On the past, I'm sorry, he's going to be chai because it was a sheker. He lied right away. He said that stone was gold. And immediately we knew, we found out. At that time when he said it, he was lying.
Three people didn't know what it was.
Right. So, but we don't call it a shvuz bita. We call it a shvuz sheker, he says. You don't make the... You're right. So that's why it's not a shvuz shav. But it is a shvuz sheker, upon which you chai malchus. Abaya. Abaya had said, made the Rav. Rav is made, even though he's mechayiv a carbon b'shvur that's not lahaba, right? He says, nevertheless, by even l'chavei shvur shani yoidei lecha edus. By a shvur, he says a shvur, I know testimony about you. And then when they bring him to business, we find out he doesn't know any edus to testify for the defendant. The potter, he's potter from a carbon for lying. He's not going to be chayiv. He's potter. Because it's not in the klal of she'ena yedei lecha edus, meaning it has to work lav and hein, right? He said in the positive, shani yedei lecha edus, and then we find out that he didn't know. So we say he's going to be potter because that shvur is not a shvur's bitui. Shvur's bitui has to work also on the lav that he says she'eni, that I don't know edus about it, and really he did know. In that case, he is not going to be in the gather of shvur's bitui. That's called that's in it's a whole different gather. It's called shvur's edus, and shvur's edus has different dinim. Shvur's edus has to be in Bezdin. It has to be a kosher yid that can testify. What?
No, we're talking about the,
We're talking about shvur's bitui. Shvur's bitui has to be a bitui sign in the lav and sign in the hein.
Yes,
So here it only works in the hein. He says, "I know edus for you," and we find that he's lying. That's still shvur's bitui. But to say when somebody doesn't, or a person comes to another person and says, "You know edus about me. Come and testify to me." I don't know any edus. And he swears. And when you find out he knows, then he's you because of shvur's edus. It's a whole different category. It's not shvur's bitui.
What's the law? What's the oidim?
It says. Well, you can, what's the pasuk over there? In lo yagiv v'nas aveina. That's it. Yeah. That's it. In lo yagiv v'nas aveina. Yeah. In lo yagiv v'nas aveina. Zok the Yimara hayadaiti. If he says, "I know edus," I knew edus in the past, or he says, "Lo yadaiti," I did not know edus in the past, and we find out that he's lying. Machlekes. It's a machlekes between Rav and Shmuel. Rav and Shmuel, if he's going to be chayiv or cut shvur, meaning on the shvur that's, he says, on the past. So it's machlekes. So too, if he says he aditi, I had testified, and we find out he's lying, or he makes a shvur shalei aditi, I did not testify, which you have belav vehein, but it's not. That's only in the past, but it's not on the lahaba that he can't say I'm not going to testify in the future. Maybe he knows edus that he could testify. So these are things, since it cannot be in the future, is a machlekes between Rav and Shmuel. Rav holds Ovar is enough. You don't need the lahaba that the lahaba should work, and Shmuel says you do. And if it doesn't work lahaba, then lahaba is not going to be a shvur. Says the Gemara Bishlam Lishmuel the Amar Milson the lesson lahaba lemechayva alei l'shobar. If a shvur cannot work in lahaba, then you cannot be mechayvim on the shvur on the past. That's why the Torah separated the gather of Shvuas Ha'edus from Shvuas Bitui. Two separate psukim, two separate lavim. And because it, for the lahaba, because for the lahaba it's a Shvuas Ha'edus. Says, you want to halav Rav, only according to Rav, that says that you chayiv on the other on its own. You don't need the lahaba. Why did the Torah separate the lahaba from the la'asi? Why do you need shvus ha'edus? Why did they separate it? According to Shmuel, I understand they separated it to tell you you're not going to be chayiv for the shvua when he says I know. He says positive. I know edus, right? I know about your aid. I know testimony, and then we find out he doesn't. We said he's going to be part because if he says I don't know this, is not going to be a shvuas bitui. It's going to be a shvuas heidus. That's why we did Torah separated. But according to Rav, that he's not mechalik. Why did the Torah make a difference between shvuas bitui and shvuas heidus?
Why do we need such a law?
Why do we need a special law for shvuas heidus? The Abayah. The Chachamim said it before Abayah. L'chayu v'alei tatik. Pasha to tell you that if you're going to be over on the shvua, meaning you're going to say, he says about edus. He says he makes a shvua that I don't know edus, and then we find out he knows the edus. Not only will he be chayiv for shvuas bitui, he'll also be chayiv in such shvuas edus. Aben Lahu says the Abayah says back to the Talmidim, Tati lo natzis hamritu. You can't make him be chayiv for shvus bitui and shvus ha'edus. The Tanya we learned beferish nabarayis in a geya to the come middle of it says v'hoya ki yashem la'achas me'ela What do we learn out from the Lashon Achas? La'achas ato mechayv shtayim. You cannot be mechayv two kav ma'ila v'yeretz. Says the Gemara, la'abaya. The Gemara asks, according to Abaya, Lamai Hilsa Afkei Rachmana. According to Abaya, why did the Torah have to separate the Shvuah Seidos from the klal of a Shavuos Bitui? Says the Gemara, look at the Tanya. To tell you the Chiddush of Shavuos Seidos, that what? Bikulan, by all other Avedas that you chayv a kav ma'ila v'yeretz, like a Shavuos Bitui, a Bituma, he forgot his tumah and he went into the Beis Hamikdash, or he forgot he was tumah and he ate kachin. Nema v'nelam, there it says befedish that he forgot. He had a senior moment and he forgot he was a shoygit. But by Shavuos Seidos loy nema v'nelam. By Shavuos Seidos nothing said v'nelam. To tell you the chayiv al amazed b'kish shoygit, that by Shavuos Seidos, even if he was amazed, he's going to be chayiv like a shoygit, and he's going to be chayiv a carbon ma'ila v'yeretz. That was the chiddush. Say, what does it mean, la'achas? La'achas is going amazed, that you could only be chayiv one by Shavuos Seidos b'mezid, because b'sheigig you're not chayiv by Shavuos Bitui, but mezid you're not chayiv by Shavuos Bitui. But by Shavuos Bitui, if he made a Shavuos Ha'edus b'sheigig, you should be chayiv too. La'achas, we say that's not. Didn't I tell you la'achas? Achas hatom mechayv yatom mechayv shtayim. That to tell you the chiddush that he's not going to be chayv too. The b'mezid. If you're saying la'achas goes on b'mezid mi ketarte, why would I ever think there's two? By Shavuos Bitui, you're not chayv for Shavuos b'mezid by Shavuos Bitui. The only one that you're going to be chayiv is for Shavuos Seidos. I didn't need la'achas to tell you that. Says the Gemara, that's why we have to say lachas is telling us on a case where Shavuos Seidos was b'sheigeg, to tell you even though there's Shavuos Seidos and Shavuos Bitui, he's only going to be chayv for one. Rava says mishum dahava dava shayi b'chlal yotzli to b'dava achadash ein lechabay el chiddush bavad. Rava says because Shavuos Seidos was nichlal in Shavuos Bitui, and then they singled out Shavuos Seidos. Why did you single it out? Take it out of the klal. To teach you the chiddush only by Shavuos Seidos. Okay, stop.